Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Skymetal Iron Gods. And this is the first MTD stream of 2024. It is it's also the first stream that we've done in about 6 weeks. As we always do, we took the month of December off, but we really took the month of December off. Sometimes you just need to take 6 weeks and recharge, I guess. I feel great. I hope everybody else feels great. I'm excited to get back into this game. This is, as I said, Skymetal Iron Gods, Chapter 1, Fires of Creation, Part 9. And in just a moment, I will turn it over to our Dungeon Master Vi to bring us up to speed and take us through our adventure. But first, a couple quick announcements. First and foremost, if you look up right up here above my head, you'll see this mysterious looking domain relic. Domain relics are a version of the domain tomes that we use in our games here. They are a way that you, not domain tomes, domain dice. I'm mixing the streams. They are a way that you, the audience, can have an impact on the game simply by subscribing, gifting subs, resubscribing, $5 tips, 500-bit cheers. They all earn us these domain relics that we can then use for things like rerolls and getting advantage and making the GM reroll. In fact, we have a resub, so that's how it looks when we get a new one. I believe the way things work is we can use one domain tome to gain advantage, 3 to reroll, and I said tomes again, relics, and 5 to make our Dungeon Master a reroll. So that's how those work. Just keep that in mind. We get those from you, the audience, or us, as we subscribe to the channel and things like that. Let's see. Not a whole lot of announcements since it is. We are just getting going for the new year. Speaking of getting going for the new year, this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/mini-terrain-domain, is the return of Welcome to Paradise Academy, which is season 2. Things took an unexpected turn at the end of season 1, and our kids on bikes now find themselves in school in Paradise. Yeah, the school year's about to start. We're really excited to get going with that game again. Finally, we are expecting to return next Monday with Scribes and Scrolls, our Pathfinder 2E game. That I think we're up to 90 sessions, something like that. So we're very excited to have that. That'll be on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Just a quick reminder, as you join us for these games, that we are adults all sitting around a virtual table playing a fantasy game in which we may use graphic depictions of violence, adult language, and other intense situations. As such, we basically say there's a mature audience rating on our streams. If any of that kind of stuff is something that might offend you, or maybe just is against your sensibilities, then please feel free to go somewhere else. We will not hold it against you. There's lots of other great streams out there, and you can even go to youtube.com/mini-terrain-domain to check out any of our other games. And then finally, just a reminder, as always, before every game, we like to remind you that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. There are any number of reasons, especially around this time of year, that people may be struggling. It doesn't matter. What you need to know is first and foremost, it is okay to not be okay. It is okay to have those struggles, but you do not have to struggle alone. At any time, you can come to our chat here and type !help, as I've just done in the chat. A couple of URLs will pop up. Find ahelpline.com, or you can check out the growing list of resources at takethis.org. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend. And remember, you matter. With that, I am now going to hand it over to our Dungeon Master, Vi.
Thanks, Jake. So we return to Skymetal Iron Gods. You are the 7th expedition team in the Black Hill Caves of Torch. You have been contracted by the council members to find a way to relight the fires of Torch and to bring back the missing council member, Coney Urbane, back alive. Each of these 2 objectives will earn you 300 gold pieces each. Sorry, like, the objectives are 300 gold pieces each, not the people. And a bonus Scroll of Raised Dead if Coney Urbane is returned alive. You have made many expeditions below the earth. Though you are competent and capable, you have not yet found death like the other previous expedition teams have. You made your way through this strange cave system to find it host to a massive desert area, where in it was the guardian of it, an undead alien creature, 4-armed and cone-skulled, bound to that place. You freed his soul by reactivating the skylights of that strange habitat dome beneath the earth. Progressed further still, finding robots and a strange complex that seemed built by futuristic hands. You had called it there, weary and wounded, to return back to Torch, to resupply, to gather yourself once more, and to rest in a soft bed somewhere in the town of Torch. And that is where we are now. You're resting at the Foundry Tavern, which is number 12 on the map, just south of the lake, in the center of Torch. It is a quiet evening. The evenings in Torch have been very, almost silent. You can hear the crickets, and you can hear a needle drop. The people of Torch seem to be tense. They seem to be nervous. They're not sure if the torch will relight itself. They give you both wary eyes and as if you're also their saviors. You're each sitting at the bar at the Foundry Tavern as you see a blonde-haired Kelid girl. She's a young adult, serving the 4 of you drinks, as well as other patrons. You know her to be Val Bane, the daughter of Coney Urbane, the man you're looking for. And she seems to be overcome with a bit of malaise, as she doesn't have much energy and vigor to her bartending this evening. Instead, she kind of leans up against the bar. So, my father, any news of him? Anything?
Silence around the table, just kind of almost palpable. We don't want to tell this woman what we've found so far. Daeralei eventually just kind of looks up at her with his strange white eyes and just says, "We have found his trail."
So he's not dead then. I don't know that he's dead then.
We
She
do not know
insists.
if he is dead yet. No.
Listen, you're looking to stay here for as long as you're looking for my father. I've kept the beds in order for all of you. I wouldn't want my father's saviors to have backaches. What'll you have? She says, as if there's like this like fake platitude-ness to her voice. She's trying to cheer herself up, but it's not working very well.
Meat
What are you in
and
the mood
beer.
for? Of course. And she turns around and shouts something back to the kitchen behind the bar, and pops the cask open and pours you a mugful and slides it across the bar to you. And as Val is serving your drinks, a more drunk patron sidles up next to you. This will be Zaari. Kind of like bumps into you accidentally because you can see he's a bit too inebriated. So, I heard you're the ones going below the earth looking for the Conjuring man. The council member himself. He says, slurring his words.
Yes. We are doing our best.
Well, you gotta have some stories then, don't you?
I think Zaari kind of looks at him and her brow is furrowed and she's just like, do I look like the type to tell stories?
He turns back. Gendry, they're gonna tell stories! He motions over to his two buddies as they begin to kind of swarm you, the three of you, asking you and pestering you and trying to get you to regale them with your adventures below Torch.
Zaari just looks at Daeralei and Dannek and she just gives them this look like, please help me.
Dannek turns and just like finds something very interesting in the opposite direction. And like as he's walking away, he kind of like lifts his drink. Says like a good luck.
Dannek, I imagine you stepping outside to take a breather of fresh air. It's nighttime, You see a shadow leaning up against the wall of this inn as you emerge. You see bundles, these cords of rope are wrapped around this figure's fists. You know this to be a rope fist. One of Mr. Ulreth's henchmen. And almost with like a wordless nod, this rope fist. He wants to see you. I've come here to collect you. He says
Well,
to
that didn't
Dannek.
take him very long. Dannek, I think, lights up whatever is the equivalent to like a pipe or like something like that, to tobacco, and starts to smoke it, and he just gestures to his pipe. Once I'm finished with this, then I'll see him. And he like takes a really deep inhale, and he's gonna offer it to the.
Yeah. He's like you catch him saying like best not keep him waiting, but you interrupt him with the offer, and he looks a little bit befuddled, surprised by this, but will grab it from you and like completely changes his disposition. Just like he kind of like looks around, make sure no one's watching this. Yeah, he takes a few puffs on the job too.
Yeah. I mean, Dannek is not looking to make more enemies, so they kind of stand, I guess, in that like relaxing silence, I'm sure, for a little bit, smoking this pipe until, everything is to ash, as he then like taps the pipe against the side of the tavern, tucks it back into his pocket, and all right, best not keep the boss waiting.
So you will head to Mr. Garmin Ulreth's office, which is in a kind of a hidden section behind number 3 on the map, which is up in the just like a little bit northwest of where you are right now, next to the lake as well, west of the lake. In the meantime, as Dannek leaves the party, the 3 of you are being pestered by these very drunk patrons. They're demanding you regale them with stories of your adventures.
When we cut back to in the tavern from Dannek outside, Yrsimagor is leaning in towards the 3 drunk individuals that are begging for stories, and seeing that Zaari had that look of help, you just hear Yrsimagor saying, "The floors, the walls, the ceilings, it was all covered in blood. More blood than a single body could contain. More blood than all 3 of your bodies could contain. Strange machines. Furniture the likes of which we've never seen. What wasn't covered in blood was covered in deathweed." And basically, I'm emphasizing all of the grotesque aspects of the things that we saw while we were down there.
Can you make a performance check or a deception check? Or even a persuasion? One of those 3.
Let's see. The only thing
Can
I have...
I aid him with that by giving the right looks and stares with my blind-looking eyes at the
I was
appropriate
about to
times?
say, I was going to do the same.
Absolutely. Roll that with advantage.
Okay, I'm going to be rolling persuasion. It's the only one of those I have any skill in. I have a +1 with advantage. First roll of the new year. That's a 14.
They are wowed by your stories. They are just taken aback by these tales of horror, and just they see you as magnificent heroes. The fact that you've been able to trudge through that abyss and come back alive where no one else has been able to before. They're very impressed as they begin to kind of fawn over you.
Without asking, simply implying, as I'm telling these stories, anytime my mug is empty, I just slide it towards one of them and wait for a refill.
Yeah, they'll be paying for your tab, that's for sure. Another one for the big guy. Keep the stories coming. They kind of keep.
As my mug's refilled, I lean into describing in intricate and perhaps in more horrific detail the strange constructs that we saw down there. And just, I will continue for as long as the drinks are coming and as long as they're sober enough to at least hear. I will continue to tell tall tales. Well, not really tall tales, just tales.
I'll interject every once in a while when I think you haven't told quite the gruesome enough story, like especially about Zaari on the operating table being operated. Make sure you go into all the graphic details. And
I grab a piece of the...
Daeralei will fill in.
I grab a piece of the steak and just start pulling it apart, describing Zaari. Just go into all kinds of detail.
Zaari's just rolling her eyes when this is being done.
At
She's
one
just like,
point, it's like, what, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, Denethor, with the tomatoes. It's just, it's almost obscene how grotesque it is.
We'll cut then to you, Dannek. As you enter through the back entrance, you kind of climb up the stairs and go up into Garmin Ulrith's loft of an office. A rope fist lets you in and latches the door behind you as you step into a room in complete darkness, except for a chimney with a fireplace at the far end of the room that's casting low hues of reds and oranges across the room. You see the tall, beautiful armchair that Garmin often sits in. It's, of course, the back is to you. But he knows you're there and announces it. Well, Dannek, my boy, you've returned. Good. Come have a seat. You mute it.
Dannek goes and he sits where Ulrith has bid him.
Mm-hmm. You sit in the armchair across from Mr. Garmin, and you see him in full. You see his pale skin, his black, greasy hair kept short and a tight little goatee around his face. And you see his asymmetrical eyes, one organic and normal, the other one pulsing in purples and blues, lines of circuitries going around the iris in the sclera. He takes a drag on a cigar and breathes out heavily. How have you been?
We both know you did not ask me to come back here for pleasantries, and I'm sure that you very well know how I've been. So let's just cut to the good part.
Always straight to the point you are. Here I was just allowing you a bit of comfort before you're going back beneath the earth. Well, business is business then. Your companions, tell me of them.
And Dannek would go into detail about each of them, what he knows, what he's seen. When he gets to Daeralei, he pauses after giving, the usual report. She knows something, or I guess she doesn't know something that is hidden away within her.
Amnesia you're referring to?
I think it goes beyond just memory loss.
I can make canaries chirp easily enough.
But
weaknesses, child, weaknesses.
Yes, I know. He sits back and he's like, you have to know about them as what they are, what they can do. I think a balance is good if you do not recognize the other's strengths, he says. Stopping, purposely slowing down as he interrupts him, as if his interruption only makes him talk slower.
Want to know their shortcomings. You must have known by now their weaknesses.
Yrsimagor seems particularly intent on destroying any kind of mechanisms, robots, androids, automatons. Seems very single-minded for that.
Noted. And the Goliath? Anything on her?
She's a little harder to read. Haven't found anything substantial.
A warrior like her must be running from something.
I'm sorry to say, but, being down there in a cave of perilousness has not exactly given us the chance for a heart-to-heart as of yet.
Not as of yet, of course.
Not as of yet.
Win them over, gain their trust, then report it back to me again.
He stands and he, brushes off his cloak.
Where are you going? We're not done yet.
I've told you everything that I know.
Sit back down. I have more for you.
He lets out, a sigh and then kind of plops back down with a defined thud back onto the chair.
You may give me sass, boy, but remember this. Do as I say, the gold continues to flow. The name
He nods.
Hellion. Does it mean anything to you?
You'll have to refresh my memory. I know it does.
Yeah. So as soon as he says the word Hellion, you are drawn back to the nightmares you have. The demonic visage of smoke and brimstone that dominates your dreams every night. This dominating force who refers to itself to you as Hellion.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Dannek, he tries to keep his face as impassive as possible as he is that a name?
Roll a deception roll for me, please.
Okay. I knew you were going to ask. Let's see. That is a 15.
He does not press on your lack of response, though you're not sure if he picked up or not on half-truth that you hide through your hesitant answer. Well, good. Very well. Of course, there's been some developments here in town as you've been gone, but let me give you a bit more refined details on what your task is to be. I want you to make sure that Conir Bane is dead. Secondly, I want you to dispatch those mercenaries, the ones you call your companions, before they can relight the torch.
Dannek kind of leans back. That's quite the ask.
Powerful people want that torch to stay unlit. And who am I to stop them?
I assume that my reward is going to be multiple times larger than whatever is offered for Conir Bane's life.
Of course.
You know, that scroll of resurrection was pretty tempting.
It will be yours.
He, like, tilts his head.
200 gold to yourself. That scroll. And your freedom.
I think you see, like, Dannek's breath catch at the word, like, freedom.
Consider all debts null and void.
These are some pretty powerful friends you have.
Mm-hmm. It's the business.
He nods and he reaches out his hand.
And out from the finely manicured, fine garments that he wears, you see a cybernetic hand go out to reach yours to shake it.
One firm, solid shake.
Mm-hmm. So you feel the servos and cold metal, the Skymetal itself of this man's arm.
You have a deal.
Of course, if they ask where you've been talking with an old friend.
Dannek just, like, kind of just shrugs and... You tell me to dispatch of them, and you don't trust me to lie to them to tell them where I've been? You have such little faith in me.
That's the pup I know. But go. You are dismissed. Make me proud.
He nods and he, like, is about to leave. And he looks like he's going to stop and he's going to say something. You can see, like, the breath hitch in his lungs. But then he lets out an exhale, shakes his head, and leaves.
We return to the three of you. Now, the patrons deep into drinks. Their words become more and more slurred to the point of just like, tell us more, but it kind of slurs it as more like a, just more, as they're flopping around.
No, Yrsimagor.
Zizamor. He's a good man. He's strong. What's the state of the three of you at this point, having told stories to these fellow patrons for the last little bit? What's it like in here?
Just for fun, I rolled a con save since I've been drinking a lot, and I critically failed it. So I think at this point, Yrsimagor is about as drunk as these guys are.
I feel like you have begun to sing songs now, stamping around the inn. Overall, just like really lightening the mood with, I think like orchestric songs that they don't really know the words, but they don't care because there's a good rhythm to it.
Yrsimagor is the Ron Swanson gif where he's dancing drunk with the little hat on his head from Parks and Rec. It's just, I totally see just a bunch of these little cuts dancing with these guys, telling stories. At one point, they're in the corner. They're all kind of weeping, talking about something that's made them be in their feels.
I think this is the first real time that, like, since she's been with the group, that Zaari has actually genuinely smiled. Just because this is very entertaining to her. I'm fairly certain that once, like, the third maybe fourth drink kind of came out, she slowed down because she's like, someone's gonna have to carry his big ass to a room. So she's just like munching on bread as she's listening to all of this. But she doesn't really, besides, helping like Daeralei enhance the stories eventually. She's not really saying much else. Her eyes probably occasionally flit across the tavern, but that's about it.
How are you, Daeralei?
Daeralei is imbibing. That's the word. Is imbibing as well, but not nearly as much as Yrsimagor. Because we still need to keep our wits about us. We've lived in Torch for a couple of years, but we still do not yet feel at home here, especially with Corner Bane missing. So there's that level of watchfulness that's still in Daeralei. That's while enjoying what Yrsimagor is making the situation here, there's a reserve, and Daeralei is just kind of sitting there and watching and keeping an eye out as well for.
Right, between the two of you,
doesn't even know for what, honestly,
Mhm.
because there's just something there, like the whole, I need to keep an eye out.
Both of you, please make a perception roll to try to hear something over the loud, boisterous song of the drunken men, including Yrsimagor, splashing and stomping about.
Well, I only got a 7, so.
Oh, and I'm singing in Orcish, so it's extra loud and obnoxious.
I was about to say, it is very loud and obnoxious.
And it's probably because it's in Orcish, because I don't understand it, that I do so well. I got a 22.
There's a few sober patrons. By sober, I mean like not nearly as drunk as these few that have dominated the center of the inn, dancing and gallivanting about. They're kind of giving the group of you a bit of the side eye. Like they're not really happy with how loud you're being. They look just really stressed and trying to have like a quiet evening that you've bit ruined. But one of you can hear Daeralei. One of them whisper to the other, something about a mysterious man with metal men and a tiefling as guards has come into town. And that's given the both of them have gotten quite spooked from this, as the other part of a sentence you can hear is the phrase, the Technic League. You get the sense that both of these men do not want to be found by this Technic League, and this strange man in town appears to be causing them quite a bit of stress because of it.
What do we know about the Technic League? What would I know?
The general knowledge would be that they are the rulers of Numeria. They have their palace called Starfall up to the north, and the Palace of Starfall rules the Black Sovereign. The less general knowledge would be that the Technic League actually came here from the west as a sort of band of explorers, archaeologists, etc., that came to explore the strange Skymetals of the Numeria region. And even then, the more advanced knowledge of the Technic League is that they deposed almost all of the Numerian previous leadership and kind of gained control that way as a completely colonialist force. And so there's kind of there's usually a very strong tension with the people of Numeria and the Technic League themselves. They have a strong affinity towards technology, as their name implies, to the point that they'll confiscate or they'll kick people out of areas and claim ownership of like territory and land that has technological significance. And usually through this way can like remove people from their ancestral homes and stuff, which is again very frowned upon by almost everyone that exists.
And have they had a foothold in Torch at all at this point yet?
No, I think as a Torch local, you would know that the Technic League actually keeps their nose out of Torch's business for the most part. By way of the Torch Council has been appeasing the Technic League by just sending over a heavy tariff of gold every season, just as taxation to avoid any kind of not invasion, but just to placate them.
So this news that the Technic League could possibly be in town would be kind of disturbing, not only to that table over there, but potentially Torch residents as well.
Absolutely, yes. Do you do anything with this this knowledge or eavesdropping?
Yeah, I think Daeralei would actually, hearing this and being concerned as well, would make her way over to the other table. Forgive me for intruding. I could not help but overhear what you have just said, and this disturbs me greatly. You say... And she'll lower her voice like to a whisper to the one that spoke originally. Technic. Like basically just whisper Technic
Yeah.
in his ears. When were they seen?
Make a persuasion roll, please, because these two people are very tight-lipped.
You betcha. Oh, that's not so good. That's an 11.
Oh, we know you could be one of the spies. We say nothing.
Do they look like they're from around here? Like, would I recognize them as Torch citizens, or these are actual outsiders as well?
These are Torch residents. You wouldn't know their names, but like they have like the fashion, you might say, of Torch. Torch has like its own little dress of just like very like hands-on like blue collar workers kind of vibe.
Right. When I can see that they're not, I'm like, come now. You know I'm from here. You know I am friends with Conjuring.
This causes one of them to relent a bit in the tight-lippedness. Yeah, I saw him. Greasy little man. Came in hooded, flanked by tall, strange constructs of silver and other metals. And then one of them, like the other one across the table, like was like glausite, like kind of just like correcting the other guy. And you could tell that the second man seems to have like a knowledge of Skymetal alloys, implying some kind of like blacksmithing knowledge as a torture. Yeah, glausite and a tiefling.
When?
Big, tall tiefling. When? 2 days ago.
How, if this 2 days ago, that would have been about when we left and departed on this last...
Yeah, you had been underground, yeah.
We were underground, okay. 2 days. And they're still here.
I haven't seen him leave. Dolly says that bought out the entire floor of the Evercandle Inn. Those metal men don't need to sleep, do they? The other one says.
I have no knowledge of that. A whole floor, you said.
They kicked out all the patrons. They're now at the bunkhouse now.
Have they stayed there? Has anyone seen them walking around town?
I don't think anyone's seen them, no.
If you hear anything more, please let me know. And with that, I think Daeralei would kind of get the eye of the barkeep to give them a round and would pay for that.
Nice. Dannek, you return to the tavern from your talk with your boss, we'll call him, to find Yrsimagor dancing, howling, running about in a circle with 3 other very drunken patrons, none of which you recognize. And I imagine that Daeralei and Zaari are much quieter near the bar itself, kind of taking in the sight of a silly Yrsimagor. What do you do?
Yeah, Dannek will take the closest, like, what looks to be an abandoned drink, the closest one that he can find, and is going to take a big drink of it, put it down, pick up another one from these, like, dancing, I assume, people, and go stand by Daeralei and Zaari. Well, at least one of us is having a good time.
Weren't having a good time.
Sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
I'm sorry. I said...
That's okay.
And where did you go to? Don't tell me you weren't having a good time.
Oh, I was having a great time. Fresh air. He, like, breathes in and breathes out again.
Coughs a little bit because of the air in here.
Yeah. Getting as much of it as I can before we have to go back to that place. When are we returning?
Probably in 2 mornings. Give us a date here in town. Get what we need and then go.
Dannek nods. Fine by me. He takes a big drink of this drink and he makes a face. That's obviously not what he expected the drink to be.
I think as you go to drink it, Daeralei was about to stop you, but not in time, and you already downed it. It was like...
I imagine that as Daeralei goes to stop Dannek, you just feel Zaari's hand on yours, like...
That's also the same time that you, as Yrsimagor and the others are singing and dancing, they're kind of arm in arm and sort of doing like a sideways conga line as you hear them coming around, passing by you, singing this song, Zdravia Rock,
Kashazarok, come here. Zrovyorok, kamak, kachirok, rock. Loshok, manatiazara, porazajavkarok.
And anybody that knows Orc-ish would know that this is the song known as Zrovyorok, the bearded horse, that sings about the bearded horse being a worthy fire. It brings good drink that comes from the translation is loosely milk of horse, which is fermented horse milk, which I imagine is possibly what you just drank.
Yeah, absolutely. You see the face that Dannek makes is just like, ugh. If you've ever drank spoiled milk, that is absolutely the face that Dannek makes.
Somehow that's worse. It's so much worse. Warm spoiled milk.
Also, it's like little curds in it too. That
Mm.
it's like boba. It's like boba tea. It's like boba tea, but horse boba.
Dannek's like, maybe the caves aren't looking so bad after all.
Demon boba. God.
And I think with that, we retire for the evening. I imagine some of you have to grab Yrsimagor to toss him into his bed. But all of you gain the benefits of a long rest. However, Yrsimagor, make another Constitution saving throw for me, please, in the morning.
That's a. I rolled a 3, so that's a 9.
You are hungover. You have the poisoned condition.
Oh, awesome.
You'll have the poison condition until the afternoon. Morning breaks early in the steppes of Numeria as the sunlight breaches the windows, probably much more painfully for Yrsimagor than for everyone else. As you return yourselves to the inn itself to congregate as a team. The 4 of you are here now in the morning, refreshed, though again, Yrsimagor looking very much worse for wear than everyone else.
Where others may be drinking the equivalent of cups of coffee, Yrsimagor has an entire carafe of coffee just sitting in front of him, just a literal like and you can tell he does not like it. Stuff is awful, but it's supposed to help.
But you have a new day. What is it that you want to do here in town?
Dannek wants to procure some provisions. I know one of the biggest things that we want to get is, funny enough, alcohol. So that will be Dannek's goal, is to try and figure out a way to get lots of alcohol and also make it waterproof, because they have to go into a river, right?
Yeah.
You
can't just bring a big ass barrel because it'll float.
Yeah. So he needs to try and figure out how to get that alcohol into the caves.
Daeralei would love to maybe talk to the council. Was it the council that had us go under? Like, is that who we talked to originally? To
Yeah, you talked
Yeah.
to one council member, her name being Dolga, a very elderly dwarf.
I'd like to report to her at least that what we've seen, what we've encountered, in case, because we were the first to make it back, so I'd like to partake that, give them that information at least. And I would also like to talk to the daughter at some point today. But I'm starting with the council members, because I'm also curious about how they're going to react now that I know that the Technic League is here in town. So I want to see how it's affecting them as
Gotcha.
well.
What Zaari and Yrsimagor?
I'm trying to remember what we needed. I know Dannek's on the alcohol. I know that was one of the big things we needed. Was there something else that we needed?
The only thing that I can think of would be some sort of like health potions and things like that.
Okay. And then, how about you, Yrsimagor?
I think while the others are all eagerly heading off to take on whatever tasks, I think, at least for now, Yrsimagor is sitting in the what I imagine to be quite quiet tavern in the morning, nursing this hangover. With this massive hangover, he can't even think. I can't think of what other things we might need to do. I don't know. I'm not thinking about where to go. Right now, I'm just thinking about whether or not I would feel better if I just went out back and yacked.
So Yrsimagor tends to his personal health. As the three others self-care, as the three others tend to actual errands. We start with you, Dannek. You will go to the brewery, and you'll end up procuring not any just like normal spirits, but like the really, really, really heavy proof stuff. The stuff that you actually don't need to take much with you because of how powerful it is. You think that you can probably bring it with you and even dilute it with water at a certain point, so that you don't actually have to carry much with you. It's basically like sanitation grade alcohol, like.
I was gonna say he brings in the Everclear.
Yeah, exactly. It is like 50 proof. Yeah.
You show up
You can-
with 2 bottles of Everclear.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. For 5 silvers each, you can get bottles of super clear.
Super clear. Always transparent. Yeah, that sounds good.
Each about a liter worth. So you can each one's half a gold. So you can spend what you want for that. And then you can kind of like just tie them to your sack themselves, so that like to your backpacks, that they will not like buoy you up into the up of the water. You can swim with them just fine, you hope.
Hopefully.
Zaari, you go to the stores and merchants and artisans. You have access to basically the entire player's handbook of materials you can buy here at those prices listed, including like potions of healing and stuff, as well as you have access to if you go to the guild artisans, they have Skymetal weaponry that you can buy as well, but those are quite expensive. Each Skymetal item costs 100 gold piece more than the regular item. So, like, if a longsword is 7, then a Skymetal longsword is 107. But how you want to buy stuff is up to you. If you want to, like, trade your coin around the group just to get enough healing potions or whatever. Because I know that you've recovered a few coin purses below the
I
second
know.
health out.
I'm trying to remember how much we got. Because I didn't write it down anywhere because I'm a bad player sometimes.
Hope that someone wrote down the loot you procured.
I have a gripper,
I
an
usually do.
e-pick, 2 batteries, and mystery food tubes. I do not have any money written down.
Yeah. That's like me as well. I've got like the.
Oh, well, sorry. Each of those silver discs you found is a gold piece as well.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. The silver disc.
Here in Torch, silver discs
Yeah.
act as currency for a gold piece each.
Let me see. They're a gold piece each. How many of those did we find?
Imagine like all 4 of you like huddled in the tavern, like pouring down your coin purses, like how much do we got? You're like counting like pennies and nickels,
I take all 10.
counting change.
I take all 10 gold coins out of my purse, place them on the table, and say through gritted teeth, "Take it all somewhere else. It is so loud." So I will give you my 10 gold that I have
Okay.
towards purchase of whatever supplies.
It looks like I have 26 gold, so I'm imagining some of that
Ooh.
must be from
Money
those
bags,
coins
huh?
as well. I know, right?
I love that. Money bags.
So I'll be passing that off to you as well.
Okay.
So I'm like looking back on my loot here because you got 49 silver discs from the remains of the skulks from the gremlins. In addition, I haven't found those yet. Yeah, the Arsul, the corpse underneath Hetwath's table, he had like 22 gold on him as well and 13 silver discs. I don't know if you recorded that, like with the bag of holding and all that stuff.
Oh, we have a bag of holding. We could put the alcohol in there.
I
Yeah.
forgot we had a bag of holding. Who has the bag of holding?
I think it's Dannek.
Yeah, I think so. Yep, I do.
Like, oh shit, I have this bag of holding this whole time.
I knew that.
So we had 49, and then what was that last one that you said? The
It
other
was another 13,
13,
and then another 22.
and then another 22. So
Yeah. Wow. That's the first time ever as a DM I've like announced that you find gold and then no one writes it down.
And then
So
there's the 26 for me because I think that was from.
Yep. So 84. I've already put that on there. I'm up to 94, and then another 84. My brain just like stopped. It's been a long day.
Oh, the previous coin purses were covered by the previous team. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. That's why I haven't.
So 178 is what
There
I
you go.
have total.
Good. You can buy 1 health potion.
I was about to say I think I can get like 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she would buy 3. Because then that leaves us with 28 gold for now. So yeah. Because she's got healing, but this is just in case, like, oh shit, throw this at you.
Sweets.
I mean, also if you go down.
Not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Is there anybody
Yeah, you're able to.
in town
Mhm.
that would, at these shops, that would be interested in purchasing a magical club?
This was the Skulk Club, right?
I just have club +1 written down.
Yeah. Yeah, you got this from the Skulks. It had like the history of the Skulk people on it. Yeah, you'll definitely be able to find a buyer for it. It'll actually be Councilman Joram Kite himself. He seems to be interested in these archaeological things, more as just like a hobbyist than anything. But he's willing to give you 100 gold for it. Saying that it's a piece of art, and with this like elaborate underdark scribings.
As he says it's a piece of art, I kind of surreptitiously lick my thumb and just wipe away a little bit of blood and hair on the end of it. I think I used it once. But yeah, I will go ahead and sell that to him. And I will make it. It was Councilman what?
Joram Kite. He's the town priest. One of the council members. He was the one that the previous expedition team found trying to figure out how to solve the fire from the top side.
Oh yeah, we thought he was super sus.
Well, the previous
maybe-
team did.
Well, maybe just Gideon did.
Yeah. Gideon thought he was sus.
The Joram Kite, is that what you said?
Yep. Joram Kyte. Joram Kite.
Make a note in case I find other historical artifacts.
Any other things you're trying to sell off?
That's it for me. I haven't been adventuring long enough to have a camp chest full of mundane equipment to go sell in Baldur's Gate.
Right click, sell all. Yeah. So then we go to Daeralei as you climb the hill to go to the council hall itself. As you hear a quite not like a loud, but definitely like a very fervent debate going on. That immediately gets hushed as they hear your steps coming up the steps to the entryway. The door is open as it is in the hall, and you see the 2 remaining council members as Joram Kite is off buying some interesting historical trinket. Conir Bane is missing, which leaves only the 2 of them, which they are discussing loudly. The Dolga, the dwarf, she is weathered and old and gray-haired and crow-feathered intensely. And the other one is Bezlundi, a man whose olive skin tone betrays the fact that he's from a more southern region than this northern region of Numeria. And they are discussing that you can overhear the Technic League. And they stop talking as you enter the council hall. Adventurer, I'm glad to see you alive, says Dolga. Darling, what news do you have? She says as she rubs her temples.
Glad to be alive. Was I interrupting something?
No, of course not. As Bezlundi looks and kind of just just refines his mustache, making sure it's all nice and proper and straight.
And I would start into what we found so far, just kind of not into great detail, but mention that we have found the trail of Conir Bane, at least what we feel is his trail, because of his fallen comrades that we've seen on the way, but no sign yet of Conir, so we will continue on. I'd also I'd mentioned the strange rooms that we saw made of the strange metal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much I would actually say about the people, those four-armed people that we saw the spirits of. I don't know if I'd mentioned that at this point. Now that they're gone anyway, don't know if it was worth it. Especially because there's something there in my brain, I've seen one, and I don't know why I know of them or where I saw them. So I'm a little hesitant to give that information to the council. But I do talk about the building that we saw, the underground fortress, for whatever words you want to say, and the fact that there's all the automatons and strange equipment, and that it's not of this earth. We at least know that it's not of this earth.
A Skymetal city beneath our very feet. What riches we could plunder from that place, Bezlundi says, as you immediately recognize this merchant's mind always focuses on trying to better the coffers of Torch. Dolga seems very disheartened. Her what do you call it? Her demeanor falls as you say that you're not returned yet with Conir. And she sighs. We need him now more than ever. The torches, the fires are gone. I know you overheard us. You cannot tell this to any of the townsfolk. The Technic League is here in town. I don't know what business they want. He seems oddly standoffish at requests for an audience. We've summoned him, denied us every time. I don't know what he's trying to gain from this.
I'm afraid that rumor is already filtering through the townsfolk.
Damn it.
He was seen. So will not be long before it is known everywhere. But he has not contacted you.
We've sent an invitation for him to speak to us. He's declined. I don't know what business he has here. Then she turns upon you. She looks up at Bezlundi, who seems to be just like picking at some dirt underneath his nail. Then he says, almost absentmindedly, if I was him, I'd try to find someone not of this town to talk to, rather than us. Worm those fingers inside. And he kind of like realizes what he said and looks up to you, but more generally, the companions that you have, Zaari and Yrsimagor. And that kind of creates like a little bit of an awkward silence in the council hall chambers for a bit.
You think they might approach us? Or at least those I...
Your Goliath and Orc friends, they are not from Torchir. They do not have roots here. I suspect that he will try to propose a deal to the two of them.
Well, if he does,
let us
at
know
least
what it
we'll
is.
know. Yeah, we'll know what it is. We'll have that information.
If you can find out what that man wants, let us know. That would be great. Return to us with news of this Technic League's agent's desires and business in this city, and 50 gold pieces.
And I think the other thing that Daeralei would kind of want to know is, like, we didn't meet anybody, but has anybody else been contracted, like, to go down? Is anybody else looking like they're headed down, back down?
Back down.
Like,
sorry.
down where we've been, right? Because we were the one adventuring party. We just happened to come back, but...
Yeah, there have been no new adventuring parties since the lot of you. It's dried up. There used to be like every 1 or 2 days would arrive in town, and now these days, no one's. The rumor has like spread. You imagine from one adventuring party to the next that it's a death trap. News has spread that everyone who's gone under has died. You're better off seeking fortune elsewhere.
Well, we will return down tomorrow once we've outfitted ourselves and got some respite. I have not
your
given up.
well-being is a priority.
I have not given up on finding Conjuring. But to be frank, after what I've seen down there, I am not hopeful.
Oh, that man is certainly not dead, says Bezlundi, again kind of offhandedly. Man is way too persistent and talented to have perished beneath those metal abominations you've described. I'm sure he still lives.
We can hope. And with that, I hope to see you in a few more days, when we return once again.
Dolga gives a nod and bids you farewell. And good luck on your journeys.
And I will head out with the intention to stop by. I forgot her name, but the daughter's house.
Oh, back to the Foundry Inn.
Does she actually lives in the inn? She doesn't
Yeah, that is
okay.
Conir Bain's house where
Okay,
she
yeah.
lives, and then
I would,
attached to it is the inn.
yeah, I would definitely go back there. Now that it's day and it's probably a little bit less busy, she might have time to talk.
You will come back and you will find Yrsimagor getting over the most part of his hangover. As you are no longer poisoned. This as we hit late after or hit late morning, early afternoon. Val is busy sweeping up and washing from previous night's activities. But she's just kind of humming to herself with her mop and her broom and cleaning everything up and getting ready for the next night. She seems to not really give you any mind as you return, as you're one of the adventurers that she is hosting, and doesn't really mind the intrusion on this space. What do you do?
I think I just sit and watch her for a bit. I will sit if Yrsimagor is still there, kind of, or if he's back hanging out. I would sit down quietly with him, but I would be watching Val and just finding out, like, I'm not going to disturb her, but if it looks like she needs someone to talk to or to be there, then I will approach her. Otherwise, I think I might just let it lie for now and let her just be.
Yeah, she seems completely fine to let be.
Yrsimagor, what do you know of the, and she'll lower her voice, Technic League?
Anything about the Technic League?
I think of all the people here, you would know the least about them.
I don't spend enough time in towns to participate in any sporting leagues.
Well, let's keep it that way. They're a nasty business.
I've never been much of one for sports.
There's a man in town who is surrounded by metal men. If he approaches you, can you let me know?
You say metal men, do you mean men in suits of armor like knights?
I don't, do I? Right, like we're talking actual automatons?
I think that you probably would gather that they are automatons, though the people who are describing the room are things that actually were people in armor.
Right. So I think I would hesitate when Yrsimagor has asked me that, and I'd be like, don't believe they're just in suits of armor.
If somebody approaches me with metal men, I don't think I'll need to tell you, because you will hear me ripping them apart.
That might not be the best course of action, but it does make my heart feel light to hear you say such things.
I hate robots.
I think Daeralei just nods with a slight smile to her lips. There's nothing really to say more to that, because that is exactly what she needed to hear.
Where are the others?
I was hoping you'd know. They
I'm
have not
being honest,
returned.
I've spent most of the morning here, recovering. I'm eager to get back to the business at hand.
Have you
And
yet?
does everyone? Oh, sorry.
Have you yet eaten today?
I take a moment, as if doing a personal self-assessment.
No, and I think it's finally safe to do so.
And would it be late in the afternoon at this point, or is it still?
Is this like noon right now? Like 1 p.m.
Oh yeah, I was going to get up to get maybe some food, but then I realized that I have no more money at the moment. I have to wait for Zaari to come back. So then
gonna
I kind of
say,
sit back down again.
I imagine that's when Zaari just kind of strolled in.
Maybe we can get a charcuterie board.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
She just comes in and she just plops down the coin purse.
Perfect
It's
timing.
much lighter now.
Daeralei will just scoop it up and head over to the to Valder and order some cheese and meats and bread.
It would be horse cheese, like last night.
No, no, no.
I swear your orc friend's the only one that orders it.
Not today. We'll have
And
some good.
See if they have any
cheese,
of those
please.
little dried cranberries.
and as the team reconvenes for lunch, having returned from all your errands, with Dannek returning with super clear in tow, as we're gonna take an IRL break, and we're gonna come back after our characters have had a little lunch.
All right, we'll take about a 10-minute break, and we'll see you on the other side. We're back.
Welcome back, everyone. We finish up our lunch here in the Foundry Tavern when the four of you are interrupted by a small orphan child running up and kind of like unable to look up into your eyes. Says, "You four, Sanville wants to see you. Evercandle Inn, top floor."
Does that name mean anything to us?
And after relaying the message, the orphan runs away. The name Sanville does not mean anything to any of you, but Evercandle Inn does ring a bell to Daeralei.
Is that the one that the entire floor is being?
Yes.
I think Daeralei just sighs and turns to Yrsimagor. I believe this might be the man I was mentioning earlier today.
Well, normally I have to dig deep into dungeons to find constructs to slay, but it appears as though they might be coming to us. I will try not to make any rash decisions or actions, but I can't promise anything.
Let's at least wait until we know what they want and why they are here.
I won't do anything that endangers you.
And I'm sort of indicating all of you.
Appreciate that. But Daeralei is in no hurry to go answer this summons. she's going to eat the food that we have first.
I like that tactic of making somebody wait after they've summoned us. Power play.
We've been in a cave. We can do anything.
Like deliberately waiting until every last morsel of the charcuterie board is gone, like picking up every last little sesame seed.
Even the pits of the olives. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Just crunching away on them.
With your charcuterie board completely eaten, there is the hanging summons by a Mr. Sandville to the top floor of the Evercandle Inn, who Daeralei knows to be a Technic League agent, or at least someone representing them. What do you do with this? Do you go to meet the summons?
I think before we go, I would actually inform the other two, in case they don't know who this Anvil is either, about that he's of the Technic League. I won't elaborate that because I just want to see what they are going to know about it as well.
Yeah.
When I drop the name.
Yeah, does anything bring for Dannek?
You wouldn't know much beyond what I've already described. That they are like the kind of like the rulers of Numeria. They have their colonial hands over everything. I don't think you'd know anything more beyond what I've kind of described already.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I will also mention that he is also seen with this very large tiefling woman, just in case that's important to any of the three.
So, do you mention the Technic League at all, or no?
Yeah, before we leave, I would definitely let you know that Mr. Sandval is part of the Technic League. I won't say what that is because I'm trying to figure out what.
I think the
your
moment that
reactions.
you mention the Technic League, you just see Zaari just completely tense up. Like, she had like a half smile on when she walked in and we were eating, and then the moment you mention that, it is literally stone-faced. And her whole body tenses up. I will ask the same. Do I know anything about this guy or who he's with?
You don't know anything about the name Sandville, but you know lots about the Technic League. There's the stuff that was written in the little message that I sent you way back when. But you know them to be outsiders of a land to the west of Numeria. You know them to be very competent with technology and magic, both of those. You know that they have taken the throne of Numeria through subterfuge and poison and mind-altering magic. You know them to be a duplicitous, very, very corrupt organization. And you know that if you were found by them to still be alive, well, there would be something to be had for sure. As you are kind of like an enemy, so to speak, of them. But unfortunately, the name Sandville does not ring a bell.
Yeah. Okay.
But if Daeralei mentions the Metal Men, you would know that oftentimes Technic League agents, when they're outside of Starfall, would often be escorted by what they're called. There's called Gearsmen, which is kind of a slang for them. They are robots themselves that have been engineered to serve the Technic League rather than whatever primordial masters from thousands of years ago they served.
So I think she would mention that these are gearsmen, and she would probably just talk about how they can't be trusted, we shouldn't go, and if they do decide to go, I honestly think her wording would probably be like this: if you still want to go, for your safety, I will stay here.
What? Dannek just says he like looks to the others. What do you mean for our safety?
You don't need to be seen with me when you meet them. That's all you need to know for now.
Dannek just like pauses and he's like, what? Are they dangerous? Are they bad? Do we need to...
I personally have dealt with some, and you... And she kind of looks at Yrsimagor. You cannot trust them as far as you can throw them.
I can throw people pretty far.
Exactly. They are dangerous. They poison minds with magic and literal poison. It's not safe. But as I said, if you wish to go, I will remain here to keep you safe and not cause problems. I think this whole time her eye is just twitching.
Daeralei looks at Zaari and is unwilling to press her any further, but she does say, I need to go. I do not want to go, but I need to go. I need to find out why they are here.
Tell me why they're here as well. They've taken many things precious to me. I would like to know why they're here now.
Well, I believe I've put off this encounter as long as I can. Looking at the completely picked clean charcuterie board, not even a crumb left. Who's with me?
Well, now I'm curious. Dannek says as he stands.
Crack my knuckles loudly.
Boy.
Daeralei just kind of gives a smile. Kind of that hidden smile that she gives when she's lost. Happy is not the word. But we'll just say
Grateful.
Daeralei approves.
Grateful, thankful.
Yes. That was the reaction she was looking for, so she is very happy to get it.
So the three of you make your way to Evercandle Inn, where upon your arrival, you'll be silently and like gestured upstairs by the very shaken innkeeper who runs this place.
I think before we go up, I would like to talk to the woman. Is it a woman or a man that was mouthing?
A woman.
I'd like to talk to her in her mind about them, what we can expect, and have they done anything? Because she seems really shook. So.
Mm-hmm. You ask her these questions. Paid for the whole top floor. Kicked out the previous patrons. He's got mercenaries with him. Warriors.
Have they heard anyone?
As long as he conducts his business and leaves, they can return to normal.
Have they heard anyone?
Not yet. I hope, by the gods, that it stays that way. I'll not have blood in those rafters.
Have they done anything odd? Have you seen them?
This whole ordeal is odd.
No, I mean, like, have they asked?
I've not seen this much of wealth in my entire life.
Have they had any visitors?
You, yes.
Just us?
There was one other. A rope fist. I don't know his name. You know, one of those paid men of Mr. Ulrich himself. The way that rope fist left, though, I think he peed himself.
So what's the word you keep saying?
Rope fist? Yeah.
Rogue fist?
Rope. As in they tie ropes around their fists. Yeah.
What are those?
You would know as a Torch local. They are kind of like, just like an equivalent of a gang, like kind of like a mafia, kind of like a gang. They're employed by Mr. Garmin Ulrich as a way to just, enforce debts.
So they're a thug, and this thug left cowering. Is basically what she's saying.
Yep.
Okay, good to know. I thank her and then break the connection.
And do you head upstairs?
I do, very cautiously.
All right. What is your marching order up the stairs? Who goes up first, second, and then third?
I think Dannek wants to be last.
And I think I want to be in front of Yrsimagor. Just in case. So I think I'm going to be first, and then, yeah.
Then me. Then
I hope this pushed us to the new scene in Owlbear Rodeo. Good. You climb the stairs, and you see a man sitting at a table where a feast has been laid out with fine silverware and a candle set over the table. He looms in this strange silken robe, He sits patiently. He looks up at the footsteps. You see his piercing blue and purple eye. Cybernetic in the way that its circuitry flows through the sclera and iris. Welcome, adventurers. Please, have a seat. You are my guests. And you can see, positioned around the room, 3 automatons, robots. These ones are different than the ones that you found below the earth. They seem to be almost like retrofitted with copper and bronze to be reinforced with kind of plating and armor. As well as you see a blue-skinned, tall tiefling at the corner. She's chewing on what appears to be a toothpick, as she's just kind of looming in the corner. You can see that she has a large sword, not brandished, but out of its sheath. She's like picking at the blade itself, getting rid of any gunk and debris, feeling its sharpness with her thumb as she drags her thumb across the blade. Some business I would like to propose with the 3 of you. I thought you were 4. Nonetheless, take a seat, take a seat.
I'm going to take the seat in the corner that allows me to see all 3 of the robots. Power play, Daeralei.
Always. I'm sitting across so I can read this man's face.
Oops.
What I can see of it.
Adjust the size since I set it up.
Yeah, we also only need like that top corner. Unless y'all are going to be running away. You see, he begins to like take his fork and his knife and begin to cut into the food, take a little bite of it. So, adventurers, what may I call you? I, myself, am Mr. Sanville Tret. As he asks for your names, and I hear it. Seems to be quiet. Also, you're muted.
Oh, I am muted, which is why I'm very quiet. But then I realize that I covered my mouth and I'm saying, I am Daeralei Sheva.
Dannek.
Yrsimagor,
And you?
the bear.
The bear. I want you a feast for the eyes. Now, of course, pleasantries and all that, I guess. But let's get straight to the business. I understand that you are been contracted to relight the fires of Torch, and I would like to assist you in this endeavor. I have something that may be of use to you. Of course, you yourselves can be of use to me. He pulls out from a pocket a key card, one that you've seen below the earth, not having a brown, nor a white, nor a black stripe. This one has a red stripe going along its length.
I am going to try to pretend that I don't know what he is showing us, and I would say, what is that?
Make a
Trying to play
deception roll,
dumb.
please.
All right. 16.
You pass because he realizes that you are idiots, and not that you're lying. Perhaps you've not adventured farther than as far as I thought that you had. This right here is a key card. It is, think of it like a key, think of it like a card. Use it to unlock places below the earth and very ancient. You will need it to get to the engineering bay where that fusion reactor of yours is currently malfunctioning.
So the words he's saying, like engineering bay,
Yeah, these are all just
reactor, it's like
techno babble to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
it's like my friend Orc guy here, right?
Mhm.
It's just gibberish, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm nodding along, pretending I don't understand, which in this case is absolutely true.
And without this, you cannot get there. You will not be able to relight torch, which goes against my interests, goes against yours.
And you would just give us this key
Do you want
card.
it? Would you be willing to accept my aid?
What's the price?
A favor for a favor. He puts the keycard down next to him on the table and steeples his fingers.
The vagueness is really appealing, but you've mentioned the one favor. What is the other?
I ask you to bloody your blades for me. 3 names. 3 people I want dead. You can do this for me, yes. Or else, more will have to die. As he gestures to the keycard. Oh, you don't know, do you? That fusion reactor below your city, it's currently malfunctioning. Its failsafes have been overridden, by whom I do not know. But within 1 month's time, it will erupt, explode, blow all of Torch to smithereens. Can't keep a fire like that pent up. It's boiling away in there, ready to burst. What say you?
But if this is in your interest to have it reignited and lit again, would not the favor that we would be returning to you would be to do the such thing? Spend our lives trying to go down there and do such. Why should there be more payment? Is that not enough?
I'm sure the council here has promised you treasures, yes? I can promise the same, if not more. And of course, any great technological thing, courtesy of the Technic League himself. Do you wish your own army? Do you wish a blade that can vibrate through plates of armor? Or a wand that can shoot directly through an anti-magic field? Level an entire acre with poisonous energies. Perhaps a potion that'll make you live forever. All these things I can offer you if you go along with.
So now you're saying that besides the key card, we could have whatever our hearts desire if we do your unsavory acts.
Key card first, as an act of generosity. You dispatch my small list of heads that I would like to see removed. And then there your loyalty is rewarded.
I think Daeralei would be glancing at Dannek and Yrsimagor at this point to see how they're reacting.
You have...
Dannek, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dannek sits back and he... What are the names?
The astute one. Clarifying the details. Well, the 3 names on my list that I would enjoy for you to remove. Dolga Barsby, Beslundi Otterby, and, of course, Conir Bane, though I imagine his fate is already sealed. And when he says those names, you know that Dolga and Bizlindi are 2 of the council members, and Conir Bane is another council member. The 3 names that he gave the council folk. None of them but Dolga are warrior folks, so this should be an easy task for the likes of you, mercenaries at all. Hyacerk here is a really, really competent mercenary. She's, well, she's killed as many upstarts and targets as you and I have years combined. As he kind of looks up with his cybernetic eye to the tall, dominating tiefling in the corner, who kind of grunts from this acknowledgement.
And why don't you do this? He looks around at, like, the tiefling and the robots around. You seem very competent, as you said yourself, that this is an easy and simple task.
I do not like getting my hands dirty, of course.
I don't know.
Why do the work
that's-
myself when I can pay others to do it? I would rather sit here and feast. It is
And your
good, yes.
robots? And your robots, they would feast as well?
Of course not. They are my minions.
So then what is the point of having minions if you do not get them to carry out what you want, unless you need someone to fall for you, to take the blame? No?
There's no reason to take blame. You see that you've got him a bit pinned here. He's wasn't just expecting to hear this kind of response from you. You can roll an insight check for me, please.
Okie dokie. Ha! It's an 8.
No? Okay. No, you see, as a Technic League operative, I have many jobs, but one of those jobs is to find talent like yourselves. Why would I give my gearsmen tasks to do? They have nothing to prove. But you have many things to prove. To prove how heavy you want your coin purse to be. Hyacerk here has proved her loyalties very well, and been rewarded handsomely for it. That could be you too.
I think Daeralei would be looking at Dannek, and Dannek, you'd feel all of a sudden like kind of this presence in your mind. I am not comfortable with this. What he is suggesting us to do. But we need that card. Or do we? We only have his word that we need that card.
I can respond to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dannek, he looks very thoughtful, and without even turning away from this man, he turns, he says, there seem to be quite a few people who do not like the idea of Conir Bane living. What is to say we take the deal, take the card? There is going to be some type of assurance. We'll have to figure out what that is. And if it is not a high price, then I say we take the deal with nice fingers behind our backs. He is obviously offering us this key card. It cannot be worth nothing if we are going to be using the key cards first before we...
Do his task.
It has to be worth something.
I agree. I just wanted you to know where I stood on the task.
Mm-hmm.
I will not kill Conir Bane.
If he is still alive. We might not have to.
Very well. So you, and this is out loud, turning to. So you will give us this, pretending again to not know what the thing, key card. And we go risk our lives to reignite this. And now here she doesn't have to struggle because she doesn't know what it is. Fusion reactor. Right? That is the favor for favor?
No, you misunderstand. This key card, the treasures of your dreams, for you continuing to relight this fire, and to dispose of the names that I have given you.
But the key
If you'll not
card...
dispatch those names, then this key card is not yours.
So you're saying we must dispatch first before going back?
Oh, I'm not that unpleasant. No, this is a token.
So key card, light the torch, complete the deal, get what we want. That is what you're offering?
I would prefer it if the fires of torch were relit after the names have been struck from this list. The preference, of course, will be shown in gold.
Daeralei looks to Dannek.
Well, shit. I might have missed this. Did we ask him how he knows how far we got? Because he made the statement of like, oh, you didn't get as far as I thought.
That has not been answered.
Okay, yeah, Dannek is gonna ask that then. Just quick question. You mentioned earlier that we didn't get as far as you had thought. It was our understanding that no one has come alive from their expeditions. How do you know of how far we got, and how do you know how much further there is?
Any adventurer in your trade would recognize this instantaneously. The ruins below Torch are not unique. Do you know the legend of Starfall? The story is from 9,000 years ago, when the heavens themselves split open and rained down here in Numeria, the land of stars themselves. Starfall, the capital of Numeria, is just one of the biggest pieces that fell down to the earth. There's another one below Torch. Those places are one and the same. They're separated, of course, by miles upon miles. And the fact that you have not encountered one of these yet suggests to me that you have not gotten to the heart below Torch. To the ruined craft beneath the earth. This is my business, of course. What you primitive folk call Skymetal. We have names upon names for the alloys created by these starfaring beings. You've studied them all, learned to replicate them. That is how you see these gearsmen here. Now, do these trigger any sort of familiarity as he gestures to the robots around him?
I mean, well, I've seen them in cities before. Is that what you mean?
Well, another deception roll, please.
Oh, that's a 9 this time.
I feel like you are caught off guard and distracted because you get a bit of synaptic feedback in your brain. The same way that happens when the voice in your head begins to talk. The one behind you, the one back into your right, it has this aura to it. And then a voice appears in your head. I am unity, child.
So I feel that this is coming from the gearman behind me?
Yes.
I have missed... So I say back in my mind, I have missed your voice. How long has it been?
Hello, child. I am Unity. Seek me out in Starfall, where divinity awaits.
So I try to ask it questions. Does it seem at all that it's responding to my questions? It's just
It is not
repeating
at
the
all. Yes. And you get the sense that this aura you're feeling is one-directional. That this isn't actually truly Unity you're talking to, but almost like the mouth, like a speaker plugged into a computer, right? It's just all it's doing is relaying a message rather than
like a retrofitted Unity, not a real true Unity. Yeah. So I think my excitement, which may have shone in my eyes slightly, to those who are looking, has faded, and I am disappointed. But I look at I try to hide this all from what's his name, Sandville, but yeah, it was not good enough.
You have seen these things, haven't you? They are the gifts left behind by those ancient sky folk. I use more primitive words for them because you are primitive people. They are gorgeous, are they not?
You're okay. Again with the deception if you need to roll it.
I have yet to hear of a decision from your party. Will you take me up on my offer? Or will you leave little me out to dry? And he says that he's focusing on you, Dannek, and you see like the ocular lens of the cybernetic eye like kind of zoom in on you.
If we are going to take lives, allow us some time to discuss when we are not surrounded by your minions.
Of course, if you folk need some time to talk amongst yourselves. I imagined that there was only one brain amongst the group of you, not multiple, but very well. I can have High Cirque here escort you downstairs to discuss downstairs.
Yeah, Dannek nods.
High Cirque here grunts and takes a step forward, gesturing to follow her down the stairs. She kind of gestures with her sword.
Yeah, Dannek will follow.
The three of you... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just Daeralei would hesitate slightly while watching Sandville before getting up from the table and following.
The three of you are led downstairs where I imagine that Zaari is like within eye shot or earshot or whatever to like if you need to talk to her, you probably like can like beckon her over. High Cirque literally just stands at the stairs, to just not really even paying too much attention to what you're saying or whatever. She seems to be just like focused on like if you're present or not, if you're trying to run away. Because she has you can tell that she definitely has a contingency plan for if you try to run away. But the four of you may talk somewhat freely downstairs here.
Yeah, Dannek will, we may be able to talk a little bit more freely down here, but not completely free. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zaari just looks disappointed.
What's stopping us from taking out his robots and beating them with their own parts and taking that card for ourselves anyway?
Men like that have a lot more power than just their minions or what they present to you at that table. Yrsimagor, you are very naive to think that if we do even if we get to kill him, that we would not end up with our throats slit. I'd give it maybe an hour.
I think Zaari would nod her head in agreement with that.
Not just take the key card. So agree to his proposal, take the key card, and then go into the mountain.
Well, he said he wouldn't give us the key card until we kill them, right? Is that?
No, he said he'd give us the key card, but we were not to light the torch until we've killed them. But Konir is down there, so we could maybe...
We do need the key card.
Yeah.
I think Zaari would lean down and speak as softly as she possibly can. We will most likely be followed. They will do something to track us.
I am counting on it. Who is to say that they have not planted something magical on us already?
As you say that, Yrsimagor is immediately like...
I say we take the deal, take the key card, and the cave gives us some time. It buys us time.
I do not think this is a wise decision. But I am not the one that is good with words.
I think that we may not necessarily have a choice. He is willing to give us this key card. He is calling us. Essentially, that he is not bluffing. He is allowing us to use this key card before any of our end of the bargain has to be done. Clearly, this key card must be of big importance.
The only thing I can think of is that up his sleeve is he knows that he has maybe something else that we're going to need to relight the torch, in which case we can get that far but no further until we complete our end of the bargain. But like you said, Dannek, it would buy us time.
This feels like a game of dragon chess.
Or like a game of chicken. If they have chickens. Whatever the chicken equivalent is.
I am unfamiliar with this game of chicken.
What is a chicken?
Do not have these things down below.
Call them yard birds.
Yard birds.
I will go along with whatever you decide. I said I would not make any rash decisions that would get any of you killed. But I also agree that he is clearly playing several moves ahead of us.
Absolutely. And the only way to, I think, uncover them is to go along with him for now. Until we can uncover them.
What's better than the devil you don't know? The devil you do.
Dannek's just racking up his hit list. This session. There's a list now.
Dannek's like, I don't have enough time for all of these names.
There's absolutely a list. I think with everyone else saying that they'll go with the plan and Zaari very much hesitant about this, but really not wanting to completely explain why, I think she would stand and, well, are we going to give him our answer then?
Probably a good idea. We delay too long, suspicion will increase.
I hate the slow game.
It is how the powerful play. It is their only game.
Yes, I know. And I think she would join the three of you when we return.
Oh, okay. This is not a face you want to see your dungeon master make when you say something.
I know.
Well, just you saying that you weren't attending made me delete your token off the map, and now you're saying you are attending it, so maybe put it back on the map.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I'm just teasing you. All right. It feels like you've come to a conclusion with this discussion downstairs, and you're then escorted back upstairs by the tall, powerful, brawny tiefling to return upstairs. And position yourselves as you wish. But she takes her post once more. Ah, I knew there was four of you. You seem like you've come to some kind of deal, some kind of decision. Best not to keep me waiting. What is it?
Dannek wants to look at his reaction to seeing Zaari.
Insight roll, please.
Can I roll one as well? Because I
Sure.
was also very.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh, that's a 17.
Never mind. I was distracted by something else.
Absolutely no recognition on Sandvil's part on Zaari. Just seems to be like Zaari appears to Sandvil as just the fourth mercenary of the group of four.
Okay. We are going to take your deal.
Ah, perfect. You'll need these then. He hands you a piece of parchment with 3 names upon them. Sorry, with 3 names on it. And you'll need this. He hands you the red striped key card.
Yeah, Dannek takes both and he outstretches his hand towards.
Sandville goes up to shake the hand as part of the deal.
Yeah, Dannek gives a
Sandville
firm.
seems unguarded with this if you're trying to do any kind of ninjutsu moves on him, but
Oh,
like, really unguarded. Yeah, shake on it. Very good. I trust you'll dispatch those names as you see fit, as whichever methods suit. Whatever method suits a mercenary group like you. Return to me once they are dispatched. I can have part of your payment secured. The other part of it will be secured once torch is relit. Think of it like an advance. A fostering of goodwill between us.
There is an instant derisive snort from Zaari. As she's basically like acting as like Daeralei's bodyguard here. Like she's not sitting down, nothing.
Did I say something funny? Your companion here seems to think that I have a sense of humor.
Oh, I'm afraid you misunderstand. It was the smell of this food. She's allergic.
Darn shame. But I do hope that others of you here will. I don't. Those plates are still full. Help yourselves. No sense concluding a deal on an empty stomach. Sorry, dear, for your allergies. I will accommodate them better in the future.
Daeralei again looks towards Dannek, but then she's like, "You are kind
Oh, very.
for this food, but I'm
You're
afraid
welcome.
I am not hungry.
But it is lunchtime, of course. Surely you did not have such a large feast before arriving to my summons, did you?
I'm afraid we did not get your summons until we had already eaten."
As you're saying that, I'm already digging into whatever food is there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dannek is like in mid bite of like food.
I'm not stopping them, but Daeralei is certainly not eating anything from this table.
There's once again the disappointment on her face as she looks.
Yeah,
Sorry, looks at Dannek.
Daeralei
like
disapproves.
Zaari greatly disapproves over here. Jesus.
Well, if we're gonna go, and I'm just gonna grab like a couple rolls and a piece of meat, and just a handful. Like, take one of these and one of these.
And you will then leave this dinner with a red striped key card, a list of names, and an armful of buns. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. As you may figure out what you're going to do with this newfound developments, and if that will take you below the earth once more.
I think the last thing we see, though, as we walk away is that there's a big exclamation mark above Daeralei's head as we head back to camp.
Well, the Baldur's Gate has given a whole new method of communicating intentions and things in D&D games. I'm sitting here this whole time thinking that this Sanvoltret is totally a Gortash.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally a Gortash.
I mean, he's literally got the steel watch with him. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Vi, for an incredible session and bringing us into the new year with the first MTD stream of the new year. Make sure, if you want to see more, tune in on Thursday for the season premiere of our Kids on Bikes RPG, Welcome to Paradise Academy, Season 2's new adventures. Next Monday, we'll be back with Scribes and Scrolls. I forget what session we're on. Like I said, I think we're right around session 90 or something like that. Yeah, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. It looks like we got a raid earlier from Architects of Fate and picked up a few new followers from that. So thank you, Architects of Fate, for that. Of course, thank you for everybody. And I do want to call this out because it's a huge milestone. Tomiko, right at the beginning of the game, re-subbed for 60 months. That's 5 years of being a subscriber. And Kaeryn is like right on her heels. I think Jason is too. Everjay is at 47 months. So it just means a lot that so many people have been here with us since the very beginning. Tamiko, quite literally, I think, was our very first ever subscriber during that first campaign so many years ago, which was, of course, the Tomb of Annihilation, Chult of Personality. So yeah, I wanted to call attention to those and thank you all so much for that. As I said, we greatly appreciate it. Also, thank you to anybody who just hangs out with us in the chat, whether you're actively participating or you're somebody that likes to lurk. That's why we have a lurk command there. We appreciate you all the same. Or if you're watching later on the VODs, of course, usually within a week of airing all of our VODs, I get them uploaded to YouTube. And they're edited down just a little bit to trim off the front and the break. So you can check those out as well. So yeah, thank you to everybody. And of course, a huge thank you, as always, to the people around this virtual table. As I said, thank you to our Dungeon Master Vi, Kaeryn, Sara, and myself. Without all of us, this would just be Vi talking to herself for a couple hours. So with that, we are going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want.
Skymetal.